The spiritual protocol that authorized your struggle has just been declared illegal by Heaven's High Court. Visualize the invisible barrier that suffocated your finances, not just cracking, but being violently obliterated by a divine force. You mistook a temporary trial for a permanent judgment. But the inescapable law Napoleon Hill uncovered states that concentrated faith must trigger a cataclysmic reversal. Every chain is not just breaking, it is being erased from your timeline. Get ready. The wealth that was held back by that illegal protocol is now being released as an unstoppable flood. You have been waiting in a silence so thick it felt like a punishment. You have been watching others receive their breakthroughs, their doors opening, their miracles arriving, and you stood there asking the same question over and over. Why not me? What protocol am I trapped under? What invisible law is holding my blessing hostage? The silence was not a rejection. The silence was not God ignoring you. The silence was the courtroom, and the trial was happening in realms you could not see. But the silence has ended. The verdict has been rendered. The spiritual protocol that authorized your struggle, the invisible barrier that suffocated your finances, the chain that held your destiny in place, has just been declared illegal by Heaven's High Court. This is not metaphor. This is not motivation. This is divine law in motion. The force that Napoleon Hill uncovered, the concentrated faith that triggers cataclysmic reversals, is now activated over your life. The wealth that was held back by that illegal protocol is not trickling toward you. It is being released as an unstoppable flood. And you are about to witness the obliteration of every chain that dared to restrain what God has already assigned to you. The trial is over. The verdict is in. The illegal protocol is shattered. You can feel it now, can't you? The shift in the atmosphere, the crack in the barrier, the sound of chains, breaking not just around your circumstances, but inside your spirit. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Can you hear it? The sound of the divine gavel slamming down with finality. The echo of metal chains shattering against stone, the roar of rushing water being released from behind a dam that was never meant to hold. You mistook a temporary trial for a permanent judgment. You thought the delay was the answer, but the delay was the preparation. The protocol that seemed unbreakable was never legal to begin with. And now, the divine force that held back your wealth has been commanded to release the flood. This is not a promise for someday. This is a mandate for now. If you walk away from this moment, if you dismiss this as just another message, you are signifying agreement with the old, illegal protocol. You are telling the universe that you prefer the familiar bondage over the terrifying freedom of the flood. And the unstoppable wealth that was assigned to your timeline will be diverted to the next prepared vessel. But you did not come this far to turn back now. You clicked because your spirit recognized the sound of liberation. And liberation does not wait for permission. It demands your full participation. The verdict has been rendered, but the execution of that verdict requires your signature. Napoleon Hill did not write suggestions for the hopeful. He documented the unshakable laws of execution, the spiritual mechanics that turn faith into force and force into manifestation. These are not principles you practice when you feel inspired. These are laws you activate when you are ready to enforce the verdict that heaven has already declared over your life. And tonight, we will activate them together. This is what we are about to do. First, we will apply the law of divine contempt. You will learn how to hold your old reality in contempt of heaven's new court order, how to stop asking permission from a universe that has already issued your decree. You cannot enforce a new verdict while simultaneously honoring the old illegal protocol. That ends tonight. Second, we will activate the law of forced reversal. Faith is not a passive state. It is a violent, targeted force. It is the spiritual battering ram you will use to obliterate the energetic residue left by the protocol that kept you bound. Chains break, but the memory of the chain remains. We will erase the memory. Third, we will open the floodgate. The unstoppable flood has been authorized, but it requires a designated channel. You are that channel. And you will learn how to tune your frequency to the vibration of the wealth that has already been released by heaven's court. At the end of this message, I will deliver the verdict enforcement seal. This is not a meditation. This is not a visualization exercise. This is a 3-minute ritual that finalizes the break and activates the flood within 72 hours. You will sign the spiritual contract that executes the judgment. And when you sign it, the old protocol will have no more authority over your timeline. Are you ready to enforce the verdict? Then we begin. You cannot enforce the new verdict while simultaneously honoring the old illegal protocol. Let that truth settle into your spirit for a moment. You have been living in contradiction. One part of you believes the trial is over. Another part of you is still negotiating with the chains. One part of you declares breakthrough. Another part of you is preparing for another delay. This contradiction is the only thing standing between you and the flood, and it ends now. Hill's principle of definiteness of purpose is not a goal-setting exercise for the ambitious. It is a spiritual affidavit. You are legally declaring the only acceptable outcome to the universe, and you are holding all other possibilities in divine contempt. You are not hoping for the best. You are issuing a decree. And when you issue a decree, you do not ask if it will work. You enforce it. You do not request permission from your circumstances. You command them to align with the verdict that has already been rendered in the courtroom of heaven. One man understood this law. He was pursuing a contract that every expert in his field deemed impossible. The opposition was entrenched. The timeline was unrealistic. The odds were laughable. But he did not ask the universe for a miracle. He served notice to the universe. He wrote his decree on paper, not as a wish, but as a legal document. He read it aloud every morning, not as a prayer for help, but as a reminder that the verdict was already final. He held every delay, every objection, every obstacle in divine contempt. And within 24 hours, the opposition dissolved, not because he begged, because he enforced. This is the frequency you must adopt. Stop asking permission. Start issuing decrees. Break your attachments to failure. Break your loyalty to struggle. Break your identity as the one who waits. You must adopt the frequency of the judgment before the evidence appears, because the evidence cannot appear until the judgment is finalized in your spirit. Do you understand this? Your reality is not waiting for God to move. Your reality is waiting for you to finalize the decree. The courtroom in heaven has already ruled in your favor. The delay is not in the verdict. The delay is in your enforcement. Speak this with me now, aloud if you are alone, silently if you are not, but speak it with the full force of your conviction. I am the final authority. The old protocol is broken. My decree is law. I do not ask. I command. I do not hope. I enforce. The chains are illegal. The verdict is final. My reality must comply. If you ignore this law, your maybe energy voids the verdict. Your hesitation reinstates the protocol. Your doubt becomes the legal grounds for the enemy to refile the case. And the illegal protocol that was just declared null and void will remain enforced, not by heaven, but by your own. Refusal to take authority. Doubt voids the verdict. The gavel has slammed. The chains are shattered. But if you walk away from this moment without finalizing your decree, you are walking away from the execution of your own liberation. Now that the old protocol is in contempt, we must force the reversal. The chains are broken, but the memory of the chain remains. You can feel it, can't you? Even when the physical obstacle is removed, the fear of the obstacle lingers. Even when the debt is canceled, the poverty mindset whispers. Even when the door opens, the rejection you endured makes you hesitate to walk through. This is the energetic scar tissue left by the illegal protocol. And if you do not obliterate it, it will rebuild the chain. Hill's principle of applied faith is not passive belief. It is not the quiet hope that everything will work out if you just wait long enough. Applied faith is a violent, targeted force. It is the spiritual battering ram you use to obliterate the bly, energetic scar tissue, the residue, the memory of bondage. It is faith applied with such intensity that the universe has no choice but to reverse the delay, cancel the debt, open the door, and release the flood. This is not wishful thinking. This is forceful faith. And forceful faith demands immediate reversal. A woman I know was trapped in debt that had no logical solution. The numbers did not add up. The timeline was impossible. The creditors were relentless. She had tried everything, asked everyone, exhausted every option, and then she stopped asking and started commanding. She visualized her debt papers not paid, but disintegrated by divine fire. She did not see herself slowly climbing out of debt. She saw the debt erased from existence, as if it had never been written. She applied forceful faith. She spoke to the debt as if it had no authority. And the next day, an inheritance error was discovered, a legal mistake that had been overlooked for years. The debt was canceled entirely, not reduced, canceled, because forceful faith does not negotiate. It obliterates. Faith is a weapon. Stop waiting for the flood. Command the flood. Stop hoping for the reversal. Force the reversal. The intensity of your conviction is the speed of the reversal. Any faith less than 100% is a command to delay the miracle. Do you hear this? Your lukewarm faith is not neutral. It is an active delay. It is a signal to the universe that you are not ready, that you still need more time to prepare, that the old protocol still has some authority in your mind. And as long as it has authority in your mind, it will have authority in your reality. Faith is a weapon, not a wish. Speak this decree with the full force of divine authority. By divine authority, I command a cataclysmic reversal. My faith is the force. My reality must comply. Every chain is obliterated. Every delay is canceled. Every debt is erased. The flood is released, and I am standing in the flow right now. If you ignore this law, you leave the enemy's residue intact. The break fails. The chain regrows. The protocol reinstates itself, not because heaven allows it, but because you did not apply enough force to obliterate the memory. The reversal is initiated, but it is not finalized until you command it with the full intensity of your faith. Now, you must open the floodgate. The unstoppable flood has been authorized. The wealth has been released by heaven's court. The chains are broken. The protocol is illegal, but the flood requires a designated channel, and you are that channel. Do you understand this? The blessing is not looking for a deserving person. It is looking for an open channel. It is looking for a frequency match. It is looking for someone whose inner world reflects the reality that has already been decreed in heaven. Hill's principle of autosuggestion is the mechanism for programming the subconscious floodgate. You are not asking for wealth. You are tuning your frequency to the vibration of the flood that has already been released. You are not attracting it from a distance. You are becoming it in this moment. You are not waiting for the evidence to believe. You are believing until the evidence has no choice but to appear. This is the law of the floodgate, and when you activate it, the wealth does not trickle. It floods. A client of mine stopped visualizing $10,000 and started feeling the frequency of $100,000. He did not see the money coming toward him. He saw himself already immersed in the overflow. He did not practice gratitude for what he hoped to receive. He practiced gratitude for what he already possessed in the unseen realm. He was not attracting the flood. He was becoming the flood. And within days, the $10,000 a day client appeared. Not because he manifested harder, because he matched the frequency of the decree that had already been issued. Feel the flood now. Become the new reality. Do not wait for the water. You must saturate your mind with the feeling of the flood until there is no room left for the memory of the protocol. Every thought of lack must be drowned in the sensation of overflow. Every whisper of delay must be silenced by the roar of the flood. This is not pretending. This is pre-living. This is aligning your inner frequency with the outer decree. And when the alignment is complete, the manifestation is instant. Imagine the sound of rushing water right now. Can you hear it? The roar of the flood approaching. That sound is not coming from outside. It is rising from within you. Speak this with the full conviction of someone who is already standing in the flood. I am the floodgate. I am the channel. The wealth released by heaven flows through me now. I do not wait for permission. I do not ask for proof. I am the proof. I am the evidence. The flood is not coming. The flood is here. And I am immersed in the overflow right now. If you ignore this law, the flood arrives, sees no open channel, and bypasses you for the next prepared vessel. Become the channel, or the flood bypasses you. It is not personal. It is mechanical. The blessing goes where the frequency matches. And if your frequency is still tuned to lack, to waiting, to hoping, the flood will flow around you, not through you. The floodgate is open, but you must become the channel. But what if the old protocol tries to return? What if the chains attempt to rebuild themselves? What if the memory of bondage is stronger than the decree of freedom? This is the question you are afraid to ask aloud, but it is the question that keeps you up at night. You have tried this before. You have declared breakthrough before. You have spoken decrees and visualized freedom and felt the shift. And then, days later, weeks later, the chains seem to grow back. The protocol seemed to reinstate itself. And you wondered if the verdict was temporary. Let me tell you the truth you need to hear. A divine verdict is final. Chains do not grow back. Protocols do not reinstate themselves. What happens is this. Your focus wanders back to the illegal protocol. Your attention drifts back to the old reality. Your thoughts return to the memory of bondage. And because your focus is the enforcement mechanism, the moment you stop enforcing the verdict, the enemy files a motion to reopen the case, not because he has legal standing, but because you stopped standing on the decree. The veto is permanent. Your attention must be too. When the memory of the chain appears, and it will appear, you will not fear it, you will not entertain it, you will not negotiate with it, you will look it in the eye and say these three words: identified, vetoed, illegal. And then you will immediately return your focus to the flood. This is the enforcement. This is the signature. This is the law. A divine verdict is final. Your focus must be too. The chains are not growing back. You are looking back. And the moment you look back, you give the enemy permission to reopen the case. So stop looking back. Finalize the decree in your mind. Enforce it in your focus. And when the memory appears, veto it with authority. If you are truly here, ready to obliterate this blockage, ready to enforce the verdict that heaven has already declared, then comment the words, "Verdict enforced right now." Presence seals this spiritual contract. Silence voids it. Your participation is not optional. It is the signature that finalizes the decree. Will you sign the contract, or will you remain a spectator in your own liberation? This is not the end of the message. This is the sealing of your commitment. And when you seal it, we move into the final enforcement protocol, the ritual that executes the judgment, the practice that opens the floodgate, the discipline that ensures the flood flows through you, not around you. But first, you must sign. Comment, verdict enforced. And we continue. You have signed the contract. Your presence, in this moment, your willingness to speak the words verdict enforced, is the signature heaven was waiting for. And now, the machinery of the divine court shifts into execution mode. The verdict is no longer a promise. It is a command. And you are the executor. But execution requires precision. It requires a ritual, not the ritual of religious tradition, not the ritual of empty repetition, but the ritual of alignment, the ritual that synchronizes your frequency with the flood that has already been released. This is the verdict enforcement seal. And when you complete it, the protocol will not just be broken in the spiritual realm. It will be obliterated in your physical timeline within 72 hours. Let me be clear about what this ritual is not. This is not a meditation where you sit quietly and hope for inspiration. This is not a prayer where you beg for help. This is not a visualization where you imagine a distant future. This is a signing ceremony. You are finalizing the court order. You are placing your signature on the decree that heaven has already stamped with divine authority. And when you sign it, the flood has no choice but to flow through you. The ritual must be performed tonight, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, tonight. Because delay is the enemy's last weapon. Delay gives your doubt time to refile the case. Delay gives your fear time to negotiate with the old protocol. Delay is how the chains rebuild themselves. So tonight, 10 minutes before you sleep, you will perform this ritual. And you will perform it with the full conviction of someone who knows the verdict is final. Here is what you will do. Stand. Do not sit. Do not lie down. Stand. This is an act of authority. You are not coming before the court as a petitioner. You are coming as the executor of the judgment. Your posture matters. Your body is the physical anchor of your spiritual decree. So stand with your feet shoulder width apart, your shoulders back, your chin level. You are not begging. You are enforcing. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Not shallow breaths of anxiety, but deep breaths of relief. Breathe in the certainty of the verdict. Breathe out the memory of the chain. With each breath, you are clearing space in your spirit for the flood to enter. You are not preparing to receive. You are acknowledging that you have already received. The breath is not a request, it is a declaration. Now, speak these words aloud. Your voice matters. Sound is frequency, and frequency is the enforcement mechanism. Speak with authority, not with hope. Speak with finality, not with question. Say this: I am the final authority. The old protocol is broken. My decree is law. The chains are illegal. The verdict is final. My reality must comply. By divine authority, I command a cataclysmic reversal. My faith is the force. My reality must comply. I am the floodgate. I am the channel. The wealth released by heaven flows through me now. Repeat it 3 times, not because repetition is magic, but because repetition is programming. You are overwriting the old code. You are installing the new decree into your subconscious. With each repetition, feel the words becoming more true. Feel the authority rising in your chest. Feel the certainty settling into your bones. This is not pretending. This is pre-living. Now, with your eyes still closed, visualize the illegal protocol. See it as a document, a scroll, a contract stamped with chains. See it clearly. Do not fear it. You are not giving it power. You are identifying it for veto. And now, watch as a red seal appears on that document, a divine seal. The word vetoed burns into the paper. The chains shatter. The document disintegrates into ash. And the ash is carried away by a wind you cannot see, but you can feel. It is gone. Not hidden, not postponed. Gone. Hold that image for 30 seconds. Let the relief wash over you. Let the finality of the veto settle into your spirit. You are not fighting the protocol anymore. You are witnessing its execution. And in this moment, you are the witness, the judge, and the executor all at once. Now, shift your focus. Visualize the flood, not as something approaching from a distance, but as something you are already standing in. The water is at your ankles. No, it is at your knees. It is rising. It is warm. It is powerful. It is unstoppable. And it is carrying something toward you. See it clearly. Is it a check? Is it a contract? Is it a phone call that changes everything? Is it a door opening that was locked for years? See it floating toward you on the surface of the flood? Reach out and take it. Feel the texture of it in your hands. Feel the weight of it. This is not imagination. This is pre-memory. You are remembering something that has not happened yet in the physical realm, but has already been decreed in the spiritual realm. Hold that image for 60 seconds. Do not rush. Let the sensation build. Feel the gratitude rising in your chest. Not gratitude for what you hope will happen, gratitude for what has already been released. Thank God aloud. Say this: thank you for the flood. Thank you for the veto. Thank you for the execution of the judgment. It is done, it is done, it is done. Now, open your eyes. Do not check your phone. Do not turn on the television. Do not distract yourself from the frequency you just activated. Walk to your bed, and before your head touches the pillow, say one more time, "It is done. The verdict is enforced. The flood is here." And sleep in the certainty of the decree. When you wake tomorrow morning, before your feet touch the floor, before you check your phone, before you do anything else, you will write these 3 words on a piece of paper or in your phone. It is done. You are not declaring what you hope will happen. You are acknowledging what has already been executed in the unseen realm. And with those 3 words, you are giving the universe permission to manifest the decree in your timeline. This is the rhythm of enforcement. 7 days to seal the decree. 30 days to normalize the new frequency. 90 days to witness the full manifestation of the flood. But the evidence will begin appearing within 72 hours, not because you manifested it, because you aligned with the decree that was already issued. How will you know the evidence is appearing? You will see the small signs first: an unexpected message, a sudden idea. A door that was closed yesterday is now slightly open today. A bill that was impossible to pay is suddenly reduced. A relationship that was hostile is now neutral. These are not coincidences. These are the first ripples of the flood, and you must identify them as evidence. You must call them what they are: proof that the protocol has been vetoed and the flood has been released. Here is the discipline that will ensure the flood continues to flow. Every Sunday evening at 8 o'clock, you will audit the evidence. You will sit down with a notebook or your phone, and you will write down every small sign, every small shift, every small evidence of the flood that appeared in the past 7 days. Do not dismiss the small signs. The small signs are the confirmation that the large manifestation is already in motion. Write them down. Honor them, thank God for them, and then declare this: the evidence is multiplying, the flood is rising, the decree is manifesting, and you will return to the ritual, repeating it once more before you sleep that night. This is not optional. This is the enforcement mechanism. The ritual activates the decree. The audit honors the evidence. The repetition compounds the frequency. And within 30 days, the flood will no longer feel like something you are activating. It will feel like something you are living in. This is the key. You are not trying to attract the flood. You are learning to live as someone who is already immersed in the overflow. But what about the moments when the memory of the knee chain appears? What about the moments when the old protocol whispers that the verdict was temporary? What about the moments when you look at your circumstances and they seem unchanged? This is where most people fail. They perform the ritual once, twice, maybe 7 times, and then, on day 8, when the physical evidence has not yet appeared, they abandon the decree. They return to the old frequency. They give the enemy permission to refile the case, and the chain rebuilds itself. Do not be one of those people. The evidence will appear, but the timing of the appearance is not your concern. Your concern is the enforcement. Your concern is maintaining the frequency of the decree, regardless of what your physical circumstances are showing you in this moment. Do you understand this? The physical realm is the slowest realm to respond. It is not ignoring you. It is catching up to the decree you just activated. And if you maintain the frequency, the manifestation is inevitable. So when the memory of the chain appears, and it will appear, you will not panic. You will not question the verdict. You will not doubt the decree. You will do exactly what I told you to do earlier. You will look the memory in the eye and say 3 words: identified, vetoed, illegal. And then you will immediately return your focus to the flood. You will close your eyes for 10 seconds and visualize the water rising. You will feel the sensation of the overflow. You will remember the image of the document disintegrating into ash. And the memory of the chain will have no power. This is the discipline of enforcement. Identify the lie. Veto the lie. Return to the truth. And do it as many times as necessary until the physical evidence catches up to the spiritual decree. The verdict is not temporary. Your focus must not be temporary either. Let me tell you what is happening in the unseen realm right now. The moment you spoke the words verdict enforced, the moment you committed to the ritual, a shift occurred. The angels assigned to your breakthrough were activated. The resources assigned to your timeline were released. The people who will open the doors were alerted. The opportunities that were blocked by the illegal protocol were cleared. This is not poetic language. This is spiritual mechanics, and the mechanics are already in motion. But the mechanics require your cooperation. They require you to hold the frequency. They require you to enforce the decree. They require you to veto the memory of the chain every single time it appears. And they require you to honor the evidence, no matter how small it seems. Because the small evidence is not small. It is the proof that the large manifestation is already on its way. You are no longer the person who waits. You are the person who enforces. You are no longer the person who hopes. You are the person who decrees. You are no longer the person trapped by the illegal protocol. You are the person who vetoed the protocol and opened the floodgate. And the wealth, the breakthrough, the miracle that was held back by that protocol is not coming. It is here. It is rising. It is flowing through you right now. Do you feel it? Close your eyes for a moment. Right now. Do you feel the shift? The lightness in your chest? The certainty in your spirit? That is not your imagination. That is the frequency of the decree settling into your being. That is the evidence that the ritual is already working. And that feeling will grow stronger every single day you perform the ritual, honor the evidence, and veto the memory of the chain. The next 72 hours are critical. This is when the first wave of evidence will appear. It may not look like the full manifestation. It may look like a small sign, but that small sign is the confirmation that the flood has been released. So watch for it. Expect it. And when it appears, honor it. Write it down. Thank God for it. And declare that more is coming, because more is coming. The flood does not trickle. It floods. And here is the truth that will carry you through the next 30 days. You are not doing this alone. God is not watching from a distance, waiting to see if you have enough faith. God is actively enforcing the decree with you. Every time you speak the words, heaven echoes them. Every time you visualize the veto, the angels execute it. Every time you feel the flood, the resources are released. You are not manifesting this by your own power. You are cooperating with a verdict that has already been rendered by the highest court in the universe. And when you cooperate with a divine verdict, the manifestation is not a possibility, it is a certainty. So tonight, you will perform the ritual. Tomorrow morning, you will write the words, "It is done." And for the next 7 days, you will repeat this rhythm. By day 8, the evidence will be undeniable. By day 30, the new frequency will feel normal. And by day 90, the full manifestation of the flood will have arrived. Not because you hoped hard enough, because you enforced the decree. You are standing at the threshold now. The ritual is sealed. The evidence is accumulating. The frequency is shifting. But the real battle is not behind you. It is in front of you. Because this is where most people lose focus. This is where the enemy makes his final stand. The next 30 days will test everything you have learned. And if you understand what I am about to tell you, you will not just survive those 30 days. You will emerge transformed into someone the world does not recognize anymore. The first 72 hours are a honeymoon. The evidence flows. The miracle feels real. The frequency is strong. You can feel the flood rising. You check your phone and there is a message. You open your email and there is an opportunity. You have a conversation, and someone mentions something that connects to your breakthrough. The abundance is tangible. The flood is undeniable. But on day 8, something that tilgens changes. The initial surge of evidence slows. The miracles pause. The feeling fades slightly, and your mind begins to whisper the questions you thought you had silenced. What if it was just luck? What if the protocol is not actually broken? What if I am not actually the floodgate? What if I am just imagining this whole thing? This moment on day 8 is the veto point. This is where you either enforce the decree or surrender to the doubt. And I am telling you this now so that when day 8 arrives, you are prepared. You do not panic. You do not question the verdict. You understand that day 8 is not a sign that the ritual failed. Day 8 is a sign that the ritual is working. Because the enemy does not attack what is failing. The enemy attacks what is succeeding. The enemy only deploys doubt when the breakthrough is real enough to threaten him. Here is what happens in the unseen realm during days 1 through 7. The verdict is being executed. The chains are being dismantled, piece by piece. The blockages are being cleared systematically. The resources assigned to your breakthrough are being mobilized. The people who will open the doors are being positioned. The circumstances are being rearranged. But the physical manifestation requires time to catch up to the spiritual decree. It is not that God is slow. It is that the physical realm operates at a different frequency than the spiritual realm. The speed of manifestation is always determined by the frequency you hold. And the gap between the spiritual decree and the physical manifestation is where doubt lives. This gap is where the enemy plants his seeds. And if you do not understand this, the seeds will grow into trees that block your vision of the flood. So on day 8, when the initial evidence slows, you must do something that feels counterintuitive. You must increase your enforcement, not because the ritual failed, but because the ritual is entering its second phase. Days 1 through 7 are the activation phase. Days 8 through 30 are the integration phase. And integration requires a different kind of discipline. Integration requires that you no longer just speak the decree. You must think the decree. You must embody the decree. You must make decisions based on the decree. You must move through the world as someone who already possesses what the protocol said was impossible. During days 8 through 30, the ritual remains the same in structure but shifts in intensity. Stand, breathe, speak the decree. Visualize the veto. Visualize the flood. Feel the gratitude. Sleep. Write the words, it is done. But now, you add a layer of precision that will determine whether you move forward or return to bondage. During the day, when the doubt appears, when the fear whispers, when the circumstances seem to contradict the decree, you do not ignore it. You do not suppress it. You examine it. And you ask yourself this question. What lie am I believing right now? The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, the protocol is not actually broken because my circumstances have not changed yet. But the truth is, the protocol is broken in the unseen realm. The physical circumstances are catching up at the speed of my faith. And my job is not to force the circumstances to change. My job is to maintain the frequency of the truth until the circumstances comply. The delay is not a contradiction of the decree. The delay is the manifestation being built in the spiritual realm before it appears in the physical realm. The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, I am not actually the floodgate because the flood has not arrived in abundance yet. But the truth is, I am already the floodgate. The flood is already flowing through me. What I am witnessing right now is not the absence of the flood. It is the beginning of the flow. The abundance is multiplying every single day, even if I cannot quantify it yet. The small evidence is the proof that the large manifestation is already in motion. The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, maybe I was not meant to have this blessing because it is taking so long. But the truth is, the delay is not a rejection. The delay is the preparation being completed. Every day that passes is another day that God is preparing the vessel to hold the flood without being destroyed by it. A vessel that is not prepared will overflow and waste the blessing. So the delay is not a curse, it is a blessing in disguise. The preparation is the mercy. The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, other people get breakthroughs instantly, so what is wrong with me? But the truth is, the comparison is the poison. What you see in others is the final evidence, not the entire timeline. You do not see their day 8. You do not see their confusion. You do not see their discipline. You only see their manifestation. And now that you know the mechanics, you understand that every breakthrough requires this same cycle. The cycle is not punishment. The cycle is the architecture of transformation. The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, I tried this before and it did not work, so why would it work now? But the truth is, it did not work before because you did not have the full protocol. Before, you had hope. Now, you have a decree. Before, you had visualization. Now, you have enforcement. Before, you were asking. Now, you are commanding. This is not the same attempt repeated. This is a new level entirely. The old frequency could not hold the manifestation. The new frequency will lock it in permanently. The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, what if this is all just positive thinking and there is no real spiritual law behind it? But the truth is, positive thinking is surface level. Spiritual law is structural. Positive thinking says the circumstance might change. Spiritual law says the circumstance must change when the frequency shifts because the universe operates by law, not by hope. You are not thinking positively. You are aligning with a law that is more powerful than your circumstances. The law executes regardless of whether you believe it or feel it. Your alignment is the only variable. The lie might sound like this. The lie might be, I am too damaged, too broken, too far gone for this to work for me. But the truth is, the protocol does not care about your history. The protocol does not care about your failures. The protocol does not care about your mistakes. The protocol cares about your frequency right now in this moment. And in this moment, you have the authority to decree a new reality. Your past is not your destiny. Your decree is. And a decree from heaven overrides every failure, every wound, every shame you carry. Do you see the pattern? The lies sound reasonable. The lies sound protective. The lies sound like wisdom. The lies sound like caution. But the lies are the enforcement mechanism of the old, illegal protocol. They are the chains, whispering that they are still legal. They are the protocol trying to convince you that it was never actually broken. And your job is to identify the lies, veto them with precision, and return to the truth. This is not positive thinking. This is precision warfare. This is the discipline of a warrior who knows that the battle is fought in the realm of thought before it is won in the realm of manifestation. Because before your circumstances change, your thoughts must change. Before your reality shifts, your internal frequency must shift. Before the physical evidence appears, the spiritual alignment must be locked in. So during days 8 through 30, you will add this practice to your evening ritual. When a doubt appears during the day, you will stop whatever you are doing. You will close your eyes for 10 seconds. You will identify the lie by name. You will say aloud, identified, vetoed, illegal. And then you will state the truth. You will say, the protocol is broken. The flood is flowing. The verdict is final. My reality must comply. I am the final authority. My decree is law. This might happen 5 times in a day. It might happen 10 times. It might happen 20 times. This is not a sign of failure. This is a sign of warfare. The more you veto, the more the enemy is fighting. The more you fight, the closer you are to the breakthrough. And each time you veto, you are not fighting the doubt. You are enforcing the decree. Each time, you are programming your subconscious with the truth. Each time, you are training your mind to recognize the enemy's lies and reject them immediately. Each time, you are tightening the frequency until there is no gap left for doubt to enter. By day 15, the lies will come less frequently. By day 22, you will notice that you are no longer consciously fighting the doubt. The doubt comes, and automatically, your spirit says, "That is a lie," vetoed, and the doubt dissolves before it can take root. By day 30, the truth will feel more real than your circumstances. Your frequency will have shifted so completely that the old reality will feel like a dream you once had. And this is when something profound shifts inside you. By day 30, you have moved from enforcing the decree consciously to embodying the decree naturally. You have moved from forcing the frequency to channeling the frequency. You have moved from fighting for the breakthrough to living in the breakthrough. And this transition is what unlocks the acceleration. Because the universe does not respond to effort, the universe responds to being. And when you become the floodgate, the flood does not trickle through you, it floods through you. This is the gateway between the integration phase and the manifestation phase. Between day 30 and day 90, your physical circumstances will begin to reorganize themselves at accelerated speed. Because by day 30, your frequency is locked into the truth of the decree. The lies have lost their power. The doubt has been vetoed so many times that it no longer has permission to enter your consciousness. The internal alignment is complete. And in this phase, the external manifestation catches up to the internal reality. The promotions arrive, not because you are trying harder, because you are no longer available to the frequency of struggle. The contracts materialize, not because the opportunity suddenly appeared, because your frequency matched the opportunity. The doors open, not because someone suddenly decided to help you, because you stopped asking for permission and started commanding access. The relationships restore, not because the other person suddenly changed their mind, because you changed the frequency you were emanating and they could not help but respond to it. The debts cancel, the miracles multiply. The evidence multiplies beyond what seemed possible, and you look back on the 90 days and you realize something that changes you forever. The flood was not the miracle that arrived on day 89. The flood was you. The flood was your transformed frequency. The flood was your commitment to enforce the decree, even when the circumstances whispered that the decree was not true. The flood was your refusal to negotiate with the doubt. The flood was your discipline to veto the lies 50 times a day if necessary. The flood was your decision to become the channel instead of remaining the petitioner. The physical manifestation is just the evidence of the transformation that already occurred inside you. And this is the secret that separates the people who experience temporary breakthrough from the people who experience permanent elevation. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes. Do not rush. Breathe in deeply. And as you breathe in, imagine the air entering your lungs is the presence of the divine. This is not a religious exercise. This is a frequency reset. You are aligning your physical body with the spiritual reality that has already been decreed. You are acknowledging that the decree is not coming. The decree is here. The flood is not approaching. The flood is rising inside you right now. Breathe out slowly. As you breathe out, release every doubt, every fear, every attachment to the old timeline. Release it. Let it go. Do not try to force it. Simply acknowledge that it is leaving, that it has no power, that it is illegal in the new reality you are building. Feel the space inside you becoming clear. Feel the chamber of your spirit becoming empty of the old frequencies so that it can be filled with the new decree. Sit with this silence for 60 seconds. Do not think. Do not try to visualize. Do not try to feel anything specific. Simply be. Simply exist in the knowing that the verdict is final. The chains are broken. The flood is rising. And you are already standing in the waters. When you are ready, open your eyes. And know that something shifted in those 60 seconds. It was not visible. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. But it was real. In the silence, the decree was being locked into your cellular memory. In the stillness, the protocol was being erased from your timeline. In the peace, the channels were being opened for the flood. This is what happens when you stop trying to force the breakthrough and start allowing the breakthrough to move through you. This is what happens when you transition from doing to being. And this transition is what ensures that the manifestation lasts. Because anything that is forced will eventually collapse, but anything that flows will continue forever. Here is what I want you to understand as you enter the next 90 days of your life. The ritual you performed on that first night is now locked into your spiritual DNA. The decree you spoke is now written on your heart. The frequency you activated is now your new baseline. The old protocol is not just broken, it is illegal in your timeline. It has no authority. It has no jurisdiction. It has no power. And the flood is not just coming. It is here. It is inside you. It is flowing through every decision you make, every word you speak, every action you take, every thought you think. But there is one more thing you must do to lock this in completely. There is one more signature that heaven is waiting for. And that signature is not written with your hand. That signature is lived with your life. And I am asking you to make a commitment right now that will accelerate everything. Over the next 24 hours, I want you to do something that seems small, but is actually enormous in the unseen realm. I want you to find one blockage in your life. One place where you are accepting less than the decree. One place where you are negotiating with lack. One place where you are still operating under the old protocol. One place where you are still asking permission from a system that is illegal. It might be a relationship where you are accepting disrespect. Every time this person speaks to you, they diminish you. Every time you are with them, you feel smaller. And you are accepting it because you fear being alone, or you fear their reaction, or you fear the disruption. The old protocol says, accept the disrespect. The decree says, the protocol is illegal, walk away. It might be a job where you are accepting less than your worth. You know what you are capable of. You know the value you bring. But the employer has convinced you that you should be grateful for what you have, that you should not ask for more, that you are lucky to have this position. The old protocol says, accept less. The decree says, I am the final authority. I command better. It might be a financial situation where you are accepting impossibility. The debt seems insurmountable. The income seems insufficient. The future seems blocked. And you have made peace with struggle. You have accepted that this is just your life now. The old protocol says, this is permanent. The decree says, I command a cataclysmic reversal. It might be a health situation where you are accepting limitation. The doctor said this is how it will be. The diagnosis is permanent. The limitation is just something you have to live with. And you are making plans around the limitation instead of commanding the healing. The old protocol says, accept the diagnosis. The decree says, the protocol is illegal. I command health. It might be a dream where you are accepting postponement. You wanted to do something. You wanted to build something. You wanted to become someone. But you decided it was not practical. It was not realistic. It was not the right time. And you shelved the dream. And every time you think about it, you feel a sadness that you have gotten used to. The old protocol says, wait. The decree says, do it now. Find one blockage, just one. It does not have to be the biggest one. It does not have to be the most important one. It just has to be one where you are still accepting the authority of the old protocol instead of the authority of the new decree. And in the next 24 hours, I want you to veto it, not by fighting, by refusing, not by struggling, by declaring. You will walk away from the disrespect. You will make the phone call to the job and demand better. You will make the first call to the creditor and demand a renegotiation. You will schedule the doctor's appointment and declare health. You will submit the application for the dream and speak it aloud. The old protocol is illegal here too. I command a new reality. This is not recklessness. This is faith. This is the signature that finalizes the decree, because the verdict is only fully enforced when you live like the verdict is already true. When you make a decision based on the new timeline, not the old timeline, you are signing the contract. You are finalizing the court order. You are declaring to the entire universe, I am no longer available to the old protocol. I am not negotiating. I am not waiting. I am not accepting less. I am the one who was chosen. I am the one who was prepared. I am the one who decreed the new reality, and I am enforcing it now. Do you understand what I am asking you to do? I am not asking you to be reckless. I am not asking you to abandon wisdom. I am not asking you to walk away from the job without a plan. I am not asking you to destroy the relationship without understanding the consequences. I am asking you to take one action in the next 24 hours that demonstrates that you believe the verdict is already true. One action, one veto, one refusal, one declaration. That is the final signature. And that signature is what moves the entire machinery of the universe into your favor. Because here is what happens when you sign that signature. When you take that action, when you refuse the old protocol in your real life, not just in your mind, the entire spiritual realm shifts. The angels move. The resources align. The people are repositioned. The doors that seemed closed begin to creak open. The timing accelerates. The evidence multiplies. Because you have just declared to heaven and to yourself that you are serious. You are not playing with the decree. You are not practicing the ritual as a hobby. You are not hoping this might work someday. You are enforcing the verdict right now. And in that moment, the flood does not just flow toward you. The flood flows through you as a force of nature. The breakthrough does not just arrive as a blessing. The breakthrough arrives as a veto of everything that tried to stop it. And the people around you, the circumstances around you, the obstacles around you, they all begin to recalibrate around the new frequency you are emanating. They feel it. They sense it. The person who disrespected you notices that you are no longer available to disrespect. The employer notices that you are no longer available to accept less. The creditor notices that you are no longer available to be dominated. The universe notices, and it reorganizes itself around your new authority. I am the final authority. This is who you are now. Not the person who waits for permission. The person who gives permission. Not the person who asks if the breakthrough is possible. The person who declares that the breakthrough is mandatory. Not the person who negotiates with the protocol. The person who vetoes the protocol. Not the person who hopes for the flood. The person who stands in the flood and commands it to rise higher. Not the person who wonders if they deserve the blessing. The person who knows that they were chosen, and chosen people do not negotiate about their inheritance. This is your new identity. And over the next 30 days, you will not just believe this identity, you will embody it. You will walk like someone who has already received. You will speak like someone who already possesses. You will make decisions like someone who is already living in the abundance. You will handle money like someone who knows more is coming. You will speak to people like someone who has nothing to prove. You will face obstacles like someone who knows they are temporary. And the manifestation will have no choice but to match the frequency of who you have become. By day 30, people will ask you what is different. Something about you has shifted. You are more confident. You are calmer. You are clearer. You are stronger. And they cannot put their finger on it. They do not understand that you have moved from victim to executor, from petitioner to judge, from one who waits to one who commands. And when they see this shift, they will want what you have. They will ask you what you did, and you will tell them. And some will listen. And some will become the next wave of people who enforce the decree. But that is not your concern right now. Your concern is your timeline. Your concern is your breakthrough. Your concern is maintaining the frequency of the decree until the manifestation catches up. Your concern is vetoing every lie, every doubt, every whisper of the old protocol until it has lost all power over you. Your concern is becoming so aligned with the decree that the evidence has no choice but to appear. Here is the final protocol. Days 1 through 7, you activate. You perform the ritual. You speak the decree. You visualize the veto and the flood. You feel the first wave of evidence. Days 8 through 30, you integrate. You veto the lies 50 times if necessary. You maintain the frequency, even when the circumstances seem to contradict. You refuse the old protocol in one area of your life. You become the embodiment of the decree. Days 30 through 90, you manifest. The physical evidence accelerates. The miracles multiply. The breakthrough arrives in forms you could not have planned. The doors open. The contracts appear. The relationships restore. The abundance flows. And by day 90, you will have become someone entirely new. Not because you changed your external circumstances, because you changed your internal frequency. Not because the world changed, because you changed how you relate to the world. Not because you finally got lucky, because you aligned with a law that is more powerful than luck. And once that alignment is locked in, it stays locked. The elevation is permanent. The frequency is the new baseline. The breakthrough is now your reality. There is nothing more to do. There is nothing more to figure out. The entire protocol is in your hands now. The verdict is rendered. The machinery is in motion. The flood is rising. And all that remains is for you to enforce what has already been decreed. Close your eyes one more time. Feel the presence of the divine in this moment. Acknowledge that something profound has shifted inside you. Acknowledge that you are no longer the person who walked into this moment. You are now the person who decreed your own liberation. You are now the person who vetoed the protocol. You are now the person who is standing in the flood. And now, speak this with every fiber of your being, not as a wish, as a revendication, as a claim, as a declaration from which you will not retreat. I accept the verdict. The chains are not mine. I enforce the veto. The protocol is dead. I command the flood. My reality must comply. It is done. It is done. It is done. The verdict has been given. The court is adjourned. Your new timeline has begun. The chains are obliterated from your life. The flood is unstoppable, and it is flowing through you right now. This is not a promise for someday. This is a decree for today and every day that follows. Now seal this divine verdict. Share this message with one other person who needs to break their protocol. Spread the decree, because every person who enforces this verdict strengthens the law in the realm. Every person who vetoes the old protocol weakens the enemy's authority. And together, we are building a new frequency on this earth where the flood is not rare. The flood is normal, the breakthrough is expected, the abundance flows to those who decree it. Subscribe to this frequency, like this decree. Share this message, because the world needs to know that the protocol was never legal to begin with. The veto is final, the flood is real, and your breakthrough is not coming. Your breakthrough is here, and you have every authority, every power, and every right to enforce it.